Good morning to you all. Yeah, very auspicious day, I suppose you could say. I actually reached 80. Never in 1,000 years did I expect to reach 80, but here I am, 80. Main reason for this little video is to thank you all for the last comments made on my last video, which was a little bit different to what I normally put up. So I do thank you all for your kind comments. Also, I occasionally get comments about videos I put up in the past. Sometimes I'm able to give an answer, but in some cases I can't. And someone asked me about if I had any lava lamps for sale. Well, unfortunately I don't. They're no longer with me. And also information about one or two old clocks, which, okay, they could probably be sorted out, but it's a case of rummaging around the loft. And unfortunately, when you do get older, although you don't think about it at the time, certain things are restricted. You find that things are more difficult, particularly getting up and crawling about in the loft. So unfortunately, I can't always answer your queries. I like to be able to answer stuff, and I might not do it for a few days or even a few weeks. So please bear with me, and I will try to get back to you. Remember, some of my videos went back some years. I believe my first videos was on the Portugal trams, if I can remember rightly. I've always liked trams, and learnt quite a bit about them. I still remember the old London trams. Yeah, being 80, you do tend to remember these things. And I remember the old London trams used to chug along, if you like, to Wimbledon Broadway, where you also had a meeting of the trolley buses. But the London trams are rather interesting, because as far as I know, the braking system on these was done electromagnet. You used to have like a shoe which would become magnetised and stick to the running rails. How true this is, I don't know. That's what I was told. And being a kid, as I was then, very young, God, I think I must be going back to the late 40s or even the early 50s. But that was what I can remember with the old London trams. And also at Tooting Broadway, the London trams went from overhead with the old pantograph, well, it wasn't a pantograph, they used a trolley arm. The pantograph was on other trams. I know, I believe the Glasgow trams had the pantograph type of collector. But anyhow, the trams, when they reached Tooting Broadway, they went from overhead to the conduit system, which meant you had like a slit or groove in the road, which was hated by cyclists, and I can understand why. And from Tooting Broadway, they went up Balham, Tooting, Beck, Clapham, and up town. Anyhow, that's from my recollection of the old London trams. When, let's say, you look back and see these things and see so many things that have happened in the past, in some cases very scaring. And as I say, I was born at the end of the last war, where it was common to see rows of houses with the odd gap where a bomb had taken a house out, or several houses out. There was bomb sites, remember bomb sites, with the bomb site weed, which was willow herb, I think it was called, willow herb, and that plant which seemed to like bomb sites. Well, a lot of these bomb sites, or most of them, are all gone. But seeing the old films, I watched some of the old films on the TV, and a lot of these films were made late 50s, 60s, around the Battersea area, and oh, how things looked then. They do bring back memories, but of course it's all gone. But unfortunately, as we see wars around the world, you know, it just seems to be getting worse and worse, and I worry what the next 80 years are going to be. Not that I should be around for 80 more years. And this grateful I've reached what age I have, 80. So we have to wait and see. Anyhow, I only made this as a short little video, thanking all those that have passed comments. Sorry I don't show myself on here. I don't think you want to see my ugly mug. I just point at various things in the room, be it the old television or the, just, you know. But that is why. Also, I bought myself a birthday present. Yeah, I bought myself a Christmas present, and I bought myself a birthday present, which is still in, well, it's off of eBay. It's a telephone 232, which is the pyramid shape phone. If and when it arrives, I will show you it. I got it at a reasonable price. Normally these are about just under £100. Well, the one I saw was a bit cheaper, quite a bit cheaper. So I'm always thinking, well, was it a scam? I don't know. Anyhow, I paid for it, got through eBay, but I'm still waiting for it to arrive. The tracking, needless to say, is completely useless, and they give you no information. They don't even say whether the phone's been sent or not. They're more or less saying that it hasn't been sent, so we'll wait and see what happens. But that's a 232, and it's yes, it's a present to myself. No one else is going to buy me any presents. So I thought I'd get it myself. Don't even get a present from a pussycat. I don't know where she is. I think she's behind the chair. That chair is a radiator behind there, and she keeps nice and warm. So she might turn up. It's a beautiful cat. Yeah, she keeps me company. Anyway, I've virtually more or less said all I've got to say, mainly to thank you all. We will put that telephone up if and when it arrives. All right, and put loads of stuff up. I was just picking up off the wall a wall clock which was in the hall, and I thought, oh, don't even remember that one. Well, I hooked it off the wall, covered in dust. You know, I've got antique dust. Blew the dust off. The battery that was inside, fortunately, it hadn't leaked. Went back to about 2011, so it was quite an old one. Flat as a pancake, and the movement didn't move. All I did was to replace the U11 size battery with a new one, and lo and behold, she started up. She was an ATO type, which is the earlier form They came out before the quartz. They're rather nice. All right, you have to adjust them. Although this one, I started her up yesterday and she's still on spot on time. So it looks like she's already going. And that's from many years stuck on the wall. So it just shows you what can be done. But it's an 8-0 movement. The clock itself is French, made by Jazz. And the 8-0 movement was obviously licensed by 8-0. They were a later development of the, I think, the bull clock. Now I've got a bull clock. I can show you it. There's the bull. Which was one of my early antiques that I bought in a local shop near where I worked in Wimbledon. I think it cost me about 300 at the time. It was sent back for a complete overhaul, and the clockmaker done a really good job. Really good job. The battery is in the brass column that you see, and the magnet which the pendulum swings within is a magnet with 3 poles. Not 2, 3 poles. So no, I say I can pick up certain bits and pieces which are interesting. An old lamp there, an old Galileo thermometer. So yeah, things, you know, I can pick up various things. Oh, there's that clock that I was talking about. I've just stood it up against the TV. Let's have a little look. There's the movement going away beautifully. There's the make. Jazz transistor. License 8-0 France. So yeah, nice little clock. I understand these are probably worth about 50 or 60 quid. It's amazing how much these things cost now. Let me stand it back down while I'm thinking of what to do with it. Put it down there. There we are. So that was that. I could talk all day and all night. I'm not going to. Drive you all to sleep. Some other barometers, bits and pieces. Various books. Mainly on interesting things. None on sport or story books. Sorry, I don't read story books. There's a few more books there. Few more barometers, old clocks, things I've picked up many years. That picture there, does someone know anything about that picture? I would love to find out more about it. I picked that up at antique, or not an antique fair, at a boot sale that was being held at Epsom. I don't know if it's still going now, but I picked that one up. An old Mullard radio there. Oh, and there's my pussycat. She's come to see me, my little one. Hello, beautiful. You are going to be on YouTube, aren't you? You're a lovely cat. You're a beautiful pussycat. As I said before, I couldn't live without a cat. I've always had cats. And so I was very pleased to get her. That's Tabitha. Come then. Unfortunately, she is a little bit deaf. She's an indoor cat. She loves her grub. And yeah, she keeps me company. She's a very good girl. She never answers back. She meows. She's got quite a loud meow. So that's Tabitha. Oh, I'm glad she showed herself. You know, excuse the room's a bit untidy. That white blanket there, I put over me when I'm sitting down, because I said the other time I get very, very cold. I'm on this blinking warfarin. I think it's either a case of taking the warfarin tablets or getting blood clots. But unfortunately, the warfarin tablets, as they thin the blood, they make you always feel cold, except in the summertime. I wish it could be summer the whole year round. Anyhow, that more or less is it. Can't think of anything else to say. It was mainly to say thanks for passing nice comments about the last video I put up. Hopefully I'll get back to putting up my normal type of videos. Just a quick reminder to you, I don't think he's about this Sunday. It may be next Sunday, but Andy's shed is normally on at 6:30, but he's taken a few weeks off. So check up. I don't think he's on this week or this Sunday. I don't think he's on next. But it's always interesting because, as I say, they talk about telephones, not exclusively telephones, a lot about trams, which I'm interested in, the radio station, which is quite good. To anyone interested in those subjects, have a little look and listen in on Andy's shed, 6:30 on Sundays. That's in the evening, obviously not in the morning. Yeah, I think that's more or less it. I could talk all night. I'll show you that radio. That's a worker. It's a Mullard. Mullard was the name that Philips used in England. And you've got a fluorescent lamp there from South Africa. A cordless telephone. I think on the other side. And the grandfather clock. I bought that a few years ago. Had a bit of back pay many years ago within BT. On the rare occasions that I got back pay. Anyhow, I decided to buy a clock. All the other idiots that I was with, I say idiots because they were, in the telephone exchange, they weren't all idiots, but some of them were, and all they wanted to do was to go across the pub and get drunk. And I said, no, I'm going to buy myself a long case grandfather clock. And I went down to an antique shop in Kingston. I think they're called Kingston Antiques. They specialised in clocks. No longer there. And I treated myself to a long case clock, which has come from my original house to the one after that, and finally to this one. Another clock here. We've got this was a copy of, let me have a little look. If the battery runs out, it might do, so be prepared. There's the name, William Smith of Musselburgh in Scotland. I picked this up at a boot sale. Okay, it's not original. It's a worker. I don't have it on. You've got a coil spring, and that is where the power comes from. You wind the spring up. It's actually a skeleton type clock with a nice glass dome. Once again, I do apologise about the dust. It's antique dust, maybe worth a bit. And the clock next to it is, I think they call that a world clock. That too also came from a boot sale. That does work. It's not going, but it does work. So as I can show loads of things. Various barometers. That one's a French barometer. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now because my pussycat's obviously waiting for a little bit more to eat. She's a beautiful cat. So I'm going to thank you all, put this on YouTube, and hopefully if the 232, telephone 232 arrives, which is, it looks in very, very good nick, and the price, well, I thought, that has got to be bought. Because when you buy, well, I buy stuff like that, I'm afraid I think, well, there's an investment there. So although you might spend out 50, 60 quid, it is almost, in my opinion, the same as putting that money into your savings account. And in some cases probably gives you better interest, because some things go up quite a bit. You just have to look on eBay how much things are. But there's also programs outside which on TV. There's one called The Travelling Auctioneer. That's just started on TV again. And the one I saw, the seller had some old phones. They had a couple of 332s. The other one, I can't. They were old Bakelite telephones, that suffice. I think he had about 4 or 5 of them. And I'm blooming sure they went for £30 the whole lot. I was amazed. And it gives the wrong idea, because that price was a stupid price. 30 probably wouldn't have bought one of them. Anyway, I only mentioned this in passing. You have to take a lot of stuff with a pinch of salt. And yeah, some of these programs on TV are quite interesting, but as regards what they charge or what they don't charge is a little bit fictitious. They always go for the bling, which they ask top prices, because they obviously know what they are. But a lot of these auctioneers, okay, they know their subject, but when it comes to specialist things, and I think a telephone is probably a specialist thing. Who would know without checking up how much they're worth? It's not the normal thing you'd see at an auction. Anyhow, I'm talking too much. I'm going to shut up now. Thanks again for watching. Any comments please make. And yeah, many, many thanks for all the other comments. Thank you again. So I'm clearing down now. This, by the way, is the 13th of January, which is an auspicious day. Thanks again. Thank you.